Hi. I think this is going to be a short video because I already tried to make this video and it turned off, I think due to cold, because it's pretty chilly out here. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for the kind words after my cat Pixie died, as I know I was a wreck in that video. Sorry about that. I did eventually tell my son about it. These people are crazy. They just chuck stuff down the hill. Anyway. And I expected him to go on the attack and tell me that I'd killed my cat. But when he actually heard what I went through, he actually said he was sorry, which I thought was a pretty big improvement. But the reason that I'm making the video is I wanted to tell you this wild story. That's the river, by the way. The river that Poppy went down to get water and survive when he was out in the freezing cold. It was colder than this. Anyway, about my next trip. I'm going to Hawaii in 2 weeks. And I suppose I should put the link, why not, to Patreon if I remember. In case you want a postcard from Hawaii. It's completely crazy. Very stressful. Very stressful, this trip. It's been a long time since I went on a really big trip. I went on a couple trips to Florida, which is like not bad. I mean, this is going to be quite the thing. And Hawaii has rules about COVID that you have to have a test. Something's happening. Before you go. And so that's actually really difficult because they have lots of places like in California, Washington State that where you can get this approved by the state of Hawaii test. But I live in Maine, and that's a problem. There aren't any places. I think the closest place is a 3.5 hour drive. And there's no way to guarantee you getting this test, right? You can only sign up for it 3 hours or 3 days, 3 hours, 3 days ahead of time. And every time I've looked at this thing, it's full. So this is a problem. But the airline, of course, doesn't want to lose business. They'll do anything for a buck. So they were like, okay, we will get a COVID test for you. Now, this trip already, like, not quite 2 months ago, they changed my flight back. What I was doing was Maine to Chicago to San Francisco to Honolulu, and then that first night to Hilo. Yeah. And I was supposed to come back the same way. They sent me this message that said, actually, that flight is not happening. We've changed it. I'm going Honolulu to Houston to New Jersey to Maine on the way back. Like, okay. Got that settled. That was like weeks ago. But yesterday, I got up the gumption to call these people, which avoidant personality disorder, you know what that's like. I mean, this was basically a day ahead off work, and jeez, look at this craziness. There's still snow. We haven't had snow for a couple days. Maybe we had it more recently, because look, it's on the ice. Anyway, so I took a day off work to try to get up the gumption to make these calls to get the COVID test so I can go on my trip. And when I talked to the person at the airline, they said, we see the flight coming back from Hawaii, but there is no flight going to Hawaii. And I said, what? 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 I had the reservation. What are you talking about? And she said, well, they're only flying every other day. I'm like, what? So the flight I was on was canceled. What? Must have snowed. There's snow on those railroad ties too. There's actually open water. Considering I think it's 12, which is, I don't know, probably like negative 12 in Celsius. That's impressive. I don't think it's that low. Maybe negative 8. Anyway. So, I was like, wait, I need to know what is going on. Do I need to cancel this entire trip and cancel all my hotels and everything else? And she said, no, you just have to go a day early because it's every other day, and the day I was flying out would not work. And I said, okay. So instead of flying out through Chicago to San Francisco to Honolulu and then Hilo. The day before, I'm going to Washington, D.C., to San Francisco, to Honolulu, and then the next day I'm flying to Hilo. Now, the reason I was going to Hawaii, the Big Island, Hilo, first is because their rules are you have to have a test within 72 hours and you basically can't go anywhere but the airport. And the problem is I'm getting there at like 10 o'clock at night, so I'm going to be spending too much time in Oahu, in Honolulu, in order to go to the Big Island. The other thing is, since this all came down, the volcano has started erupting. It's really cool. I mean, it's really possibly dangerous for people, but it doesn't actually look that way. It looks like it's going to, stay in its caldera and not destroy buildings and stuff. But, I mean, that's cool. I get to actually see some lava. So, in a nutshell, massive amount of stress, but it has worked out because the other thing is I can take a Zoom, definite running water, that's wild. I can take a Zoom COVID test, which is crazy and horrifying, and I really don't want to do that. I'm going back now. So that's what I scheduled. The problem is I was going to be flying out on Tuesday. Why I picked Tuesday? See, I keep hearing cats and I'm thinking it's Pixie because I'm crazy. It's a bird. Anyway, that will happen for a little while. I'll just look for her for a little while. It has not sunk in yet. But anyway, because I was trying to get a deal, I guess, I scheduled it for Tuesday. And the problem is that this COVID test place, they're closed on Sunday. If I had left on Tuesday, the timing of it, I would not have had the COVID test back before I could leave, which by Hawaii law, that's what they need. You need to have a negative COVID test within 72 hours before you get on the plane, and you have to have the results in hand. And if you get on a plane without the COVID test, they don't let you go to Hawaii, and that includes the start. So, I'm going to be like 15 hours in a plane or something like that. And, so if I get on the plane in Portland. I probably sound like an idiot. This is so confusing to me, though. And I haven't already got the negative test results in hand when I get on that plane. Even if I get a negative test on the way, I don't think they even let you on the plane out of San Francisco to Hawaii. And if you do, then you need to quarantine for 14 days. It's like crap. But because I'm going Monday, and then it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and they're open on Saturday but not Sunday, I will have the test taken and processed and get the result before I leave. So it actually works out on that count. And then of course these tests are outrageous. I think they're like 150 each, something like that. Anyway, and then when I get to Honolulu, again, I'm going to be there so late with this extra day, to get, at that point, I will have been legally in the state, so all good there. But to get over to the other island of Hawaii, they've got special rules that you need to have blah, 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 negative test, blah, blah, blah. It will be beyond 72 hours. So my extra day in Hawaii is going to be spent getting another test, which actually I think is as it should be. I mean, if I'm going through San Francisco, which is in lockdown because it's so crazy with the disease, again, I already had it, and I don't think I'm getting it again. I know how to avoid it now. Assume it's everywhere. That's how you avoid it. I don't think I'm going to get it. What am I doing here? You can see my mitten. So let's get rid of the mitten. Anyway, yeah. So that's crazy. So I spent all day trying to figure that out, and I think that everything else is going to work out. So I had to book another day of a hotel and blah, blah, blah. I think I need to book one more either shuttle or taxi in Honolulu to my hotel. I'll see it's more expensive to get a taxi or to get a service. It's probably more convenient to get a service at 10 o'clock at night after traveling for 15 hours on planes. Actually, it's longer than that. 15 hours actually on the plane, and then the transfers between planes. It's going to be crazy. But then I get 6 days in Hawaii, 7 days in Hawaii. 7 days in Hawaii, and I'll be in 5 different hotels. And hopefully I'll see something interesting. And hopefully it will distract me. People who've talked to me have been like, yeah, you need a trip. You need a trip. I work all the time. Right now it's really irritating how much I work and how little I make, because I basically have to wait for somebody to need me. And usually it's all backed up and it's crazy, and I'm working overtime because everything's backed up. And lately, I've been like sitting around, watching the clock, waiting for people, and hopefully that won't last long, but you know. So, stressful because I've had so many, crazy things pop up, and my budget's been blown, and I mean, that's fine. But that's stressful. Dealing with these people is stressful. Going on this trip is stressful. But staying here and not interacting with people, and I mean, it's just like sucking me down. When I started doing these trips, which was like a year and a half ago or something, my therapist at the time thought it was great. It's like, this is what you need. This is the thing. It's like, it resets you. It gives you something to plan. It gives you something to do. It gives you, something to look forward to, etc. As a coping technique, it's outstanding. And I was like, you know, it's not going to last. And at the time I was thinking it was a money thing. I never thought it would be a freaking pandemic thing. But it does look like the trip is on. And I'll at least be posting to Instagram. I don't know. Well, I don't know why I wouldn't make videos, but whatever I'm doing. Anyway, here's the ice. The phone is giving me the freeze warning. Oh my goodness, the freeze warning. So I need to turn it off, but that is the update of what is going on for me right now. Thank you. Ooh. Look at that old building. Skeleton of a building. Anyway, goodbye.